daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Southampton part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. My name is Greg Elliott, and as always joined today by my good friend and wonderful co-host, Zach Ingo Finch. How you doing, bud? You right?
Yeah, I'm all right. I mean, it's difficult, right? Because the club's in like a weird place at the moment, and I think that there seems to be a really strong differing of opinion between fans at the moment. I think, and like I've never felt as divided as a fan base in a long time, right? Because there are some people that are stick with the process, and there are some people that are, wow, obviously Sports Republic are the problem, and there are some people that are like, bring back Russell Martin, which is always funny. And it just feels like such an odd place to be at the moment. And then people might get what they want in a sense anyway, because obviously the news has come out today that apparently Juventus are after Spors, which some people seem to be celebrating because they're like, oh, it's fine, he'll sign 4 bad signings and that'll be it. And other people have gone, oh, well, this is terrible. And it's really weird because some of the people that I've seen that are really, really sort of angry at the manager are also very much sort of Spors in, and vice versa. I don't know, man. It's a weird
It's an interesting one, and I think we were talking about it off air, and I think to me that really whichever side of the coin you're on is probably a bad thing, because we've seen before what happens when we lose our structure, and that is that we are not prepared with a plan B or a backup plan, and sometimes need a jolt to get it sorted, like the worst Premier League season in our club's history, and second in all-time history. It is a concern, and I think that I don't know whether Johan Spors is the answer to all of the footballing problems that we have at Southampton. I'm not going to sit here and claim to know that either way, but I mean, he's definitely better than not having anything, right? Surely it's just,
and again, like we've been on the cusp. Okay. And I think one of the problems that I've got is that I sit in a field where I truly agree with you in the sense of sacking off the manager is absolutely ridiculous at this point. Like it's not going to make a difference. And I can understand all the frustrations with Sports Republic, but and people going absolutely mad. And it's like I sit in this weird place where I'm like, I don't really know how I'm meant to feel about it, other than just sort of like frustration, because ultimately, as you pointed out yesterday when you did your fantastic research episode on multi-club models, like nothing we really do is intrinsically going to make a difference. And if it's like, oh, we need to protest the ownership, I'm like, well, I don't really know if necessarily the ownership of the problem. Because people are like, oh, we were fine mid-level club before. Like we really weren't. Like if anybody had an understanding of how Gal was running the club, was basically entirely through a CEO that if at any point he decided to leave, which he did at one point, there's always going to be a problem.
Yeah, we were just overperforming then and are underperforming now. And because of that, where we actually should be as the average of those things almost feels like a step down, but that's really probably not the case. But it's a tricky one.
People would prefer. Like, I think it's like the idea that there's this wonderful owner that's going to fly in on like wings and suddenly wrap us up in a big like cuddly sheet, and then he's going to go, here's £1 billion to spend what you like on players, and then we spend £1 billion on players, and we still, there's I think a lot of questions, and there's some parts where we've avoided it, where we've tried to avoid kind of criticizing the players. I don't want to criticize individuals, but like even still kind of had to the other day, because it's like, at what point do you realize that like when you've gone through like 5 managers and a vast majority of the spine of the team's the same, maybe it's the team, right? Like maybe it's some of the players that are just not pulling their weight, and people keep talking about how like, oh, we've got good enough players to come back up. Well, if they were good enough players, I don't think we'd have got 12 points last year. And I'm worried that again, like it should be the new signings come in and galvanize the old signings, right? But it very much feels like the new signings have come in and that atmosphere is raw. And people are like, oh, it's up to the manager to change that atmosphere. How do you change that in like immediately as well. This is the problem, is it that because of the fact that everyone sort of has short attention spans nowadays, myself included, this isn't like a dig at everybody. It's difficult to kind of like understand that this season might have to be accepted as a okay, back to earth kind of season before we're able to rebuild, right? This is not when we had sort of Premier League quality where like maybe there's an argument to be made that had they not messed up with the Jotham Jones signing, we would have never been in this position. We are in this position. I don't really know what the answers are. I feel like everybody just wants to be enjoying supporting the club again.
Yeah.
Right?
And look,
That's
mate,
what ultimately everybody wants.
I agree. And on that track, let's not talk about it because the real thing we actually enjoy is coming up. And that's game of football. We got Blackburn away tomorrow. Let's talk about that.
I just want wanted to acknowledge it, mate. That was all.
No,
Because
you're
like,
right. It
trying
needed
to pretend
acknowledging.
it's not happening is like worse than
I agree. But look, we're heading into the stuff we love tomorrow, a game. And look, I'm going to use the phrase that you love that I use so frequently with the position we're in. This game we should be winning comfortably. How you feeling about the game? You feeling like this is the turning point?
it needs to be, but I could also see an argument that Blackburn haven't won at home in like 4 games. Wow, introduce Southampton FC, breaking everyone's records for them. So yeah, I'm not really too sure. Like I think they've been struggling sort of as much as us. Which
Even more. In fact, they are 23rd in the table at the moment, which is it's pretty low down. They've had 2 wins.
They had that win taken away from them that because of the weather and they're not having a good enough drainage system on their pitch.
Yeah, which might come into play tomorrow because the weather has not been favourable.
It's pretty stormy. You'd like to think they'd learn their lesson by that point, but hey ho.
I mean, it's not always as easy as that, right?
No, I get that. Like I'm aware. I'm not saying that they are specifically their groundsmen are rubbish. I'm saying that.
But that's another like factor to weigh in, right? Because if we want to come and play this like fast transitional football and the ball plugs up in the mud, like it is another like obstacle to be mentally overcome, and mentally overcoming things is not something that we're good at, right?
Why did you lose today? Well, the boys just struggled in the rain, innit? Like,
no, but like, there's a difference, right? You look at the pitches that we're used to playing on. Even St Mary's is like a hybrid pitch, right? Where it tends to be consistently good, and like even if it's raining, they'll still water it at half time to make sure it whizzes. Like that's just not going to be the case on this ground, and that is another thing to think about.
Man, we should. That's a fascinating thing to do research on. Is like how pitches help people win, especially with like ground measurements and stuff. But alas, that's not today. Yeah, I understand this factor.
Mate. In a couple of weeks, there's another international break. We can talk about it then.
Oh, good. Yeah, wonderful. Love international breaks. Yeah, I understand that all of these things could be a factor, but yeah, like we just need to win. I just don't think that I don't know if there's real pressure on still. But like, for everybody's sake, it needs to be a win on Saturday. Like, if not, you're looking at 1 point from 9.
Yeah,
That's bad.
It's not good, is it?
That's real bad. I'm sorry, there's no other way to wrap it up, is there?
The last time we played them at Blackburn, it was a 0-0 draw in 2024. And then at home we smashed them 4-0. So I mean, there's an argument there that that's in the same season, right? We beat them 4-0 at St Mary's and drew 0-0 at Blackburn. So it very clearly isn't the easiest place to go, even if they're not having the best time at the moment. And I mean, it's just another thing to trigger the anxiety in the brain, right? Of like, could be a banana peel. Really needs to not be.
I feel like the big banana peel was probably Bristol City. I don't know if it's because we underestimated them or what, right?
But I think we always knew that was going to be or should have been the hardest game of this week. So, yeah, I don't know. I still don't think any of us expected it to go the way that it did. So, but man, I don't know. little bit of an AI spiel before we head into the break, mate. You love these.
Oh, don't I?
uh, out of the two previous meetings, Blackburn have 1-0, Saints have 1-1. With one draw. Blackburn's form at home is very poor. Southampton are performing poor away. So I'm glad we're back to these double sets of negatives. Looking at the other little blurb where it breaks down the odds of the goals and stuff, it suggests it's going to be a reasonably low scoring affair. Suggesting that even over 1.5 goals might be a stretch too far.
Wow, that's exciting for us, isn't
it? What an exciting preview for the game to come. I don't know. It's hard, isn't it, to get excited after the performance we had in the week. It's just it's difficult to fire yourself up, and hopefully that's not. Hopefully our players don't have the same issue because they really need to kick on and do something, or it's just going to go from bad to worse real quick.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing is that we just need a release of that pressure. We need to prove that we're not where we are.
Mm.
And I think the problem is if we lose on Saturday, for me, that just reinforces the fact that we may be where we deserve to be at the moment. I don't know if I necessarily think the performances are at that level, but again, if you're unable to put away your chances, as we pointed out before, that is the main part of football. So
yeah, right, mate. Let's have a little break. Hear a message from our partners at Bioniq.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Okay, mate, and we are back. It's going to be an interesting segment this week. Predicted lineups. How do you see us lining up?
Isn't that a question?
Well, let's start. Let's start in the what in theory should be the easiest position. Do McCarthy's mistakes in the week are they enough to change who our first choice keeper is? Do we see Baz brought back into the mix, or is that too much chopping and changing for you?
That second goal, man. I think it would be good to put Baz back in. Just something to prove, and from McCarthy's perspective, do you know what I mean? Like he's already shown that he's willing to chop and change if he has to, and he like a settled side. Don't get me wrong, but like, come on, that's farcical. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Baz get a run out, and also like 3 games in a week for old McCarthy is going to be difficult, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't be upset if I see either name. Is basically where I'm at.
Okay. Obviously, Yeller still out. Out for, as we understand it, for a few weeks with his knock. Did Fraser do enough for you in that right back position to stake his claim to that, or do we see Fellows come in?
Fellows, I imagine. Obviously, we're recording this before the press conference. Fellows, I imagine, probably still ill. Like he looked ill, visibly ill on Tuesday. I don't know when you're a professional athlete how quickly you can get over something that looks to wipe you out like that, right? I would be surprised if he's rested.
Yeah.
So that kind of puts it between Rorislev and like Fraser. I don't see Rorislev getting back into the side. I don't really know what he did. He had like a bad performance, right? At like Hull, I want to say.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't featured since. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it would make sense to be the Fraser's back in.
Yeah. Presumably fresh back off injury, 3 games in a week or 3 games in 7 days is too much to ask of Wellington as well, right? Like we got to see some rotation there.
But then I really didn't expect him to play Tuesday, so
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of feel like they've gone into the whole week thinking that Tuesday is going to be the tougher game. So, play the preferred option there, even if there's fatigue at risk, so that you can rotate at the weekend a bit. Whereas normally we sort of see that rotation, I think, midweek. So I think this is where we see probably Manning come in, right?
Yeah, I guess so. That would make sense to me. I don't think he's done so well for the rest of the season, and the other day just really kind of just fell a bit flat. So a chance for a bit of redemption, I think, for sure.
Still Nathan Wood, Ronnie Edwards, Harwood Bellis at the back.
It's difficult, right? Because you don't want to start chopping and changing. But we went from on the Saturday Taylor Harwood Bellis being his old self to Tuesday in being a yellow card for this end in 83 minutes because he's getting frustrated and flapping. I really don't want to see any of that flapping going on anymore.
Yeah.
So do you maybe put Stevens back in or Korshiev's back on? Or
I
do you
don't
want to keep
think
consistency?
I don't think Harwood Bellis was the problem on Tuesday. And actually, I think I don't remember if I pointed out on the podcast or if I just pointed out to you offline. But for the goal that effectively came from, I think it was from Wood's mistake, he charged back across the pitch and was far and away the closest defender to getting a block in from a position where it was very clearly not his responsibility to be getting there. But he busted a gut and got back and was right on top of the striker as the striker took the shot and got the goal. Obviously he didn't get back and make the block, but that wasn't through lack of effort, and it was literally opposite sides of the pitch that he came from. So it wasn't sort of his man that got away from him. So I like seeing that commitment. I don't think he made any notable mistakes that stick out in the memory. I think you want to look to build on consistency from the defence and hopefully train out these, where we've got caught a couple of times.
Yeah, but at the same time, wasn't the entirety of the reason he came into the squad because Corsi went out injured?
Yeah.
So and if Corsi's back now, wouldn't it make more sense to put him back, right?
Potentially. I mean, he's got a mistake in him as well. So
I think people would probably find that controversial. Yeah, but it's not going to be mean. But I think you can probably infer what I'm thinking. But yeah, I guess it will be what it will be. But I'm not going to really be upset to see either of them.
No, I agree with that.
That's kind of where I'm at. It's not really
seen
negligible.
Some criticism of this shape that we could sort of continue to stick to and play, but it didn't really work when we changed to a 4-back in the past. So you've got to presume that it sticks with it, right? And don't do something stupid and move away at this point.
To be fair, it was one of the questions I was going to ask. Is that we've just automatically assumed that we're playing 3 at the back, right? But yeah, the other problem is when we moved into that role, Zaz kind of went missing. So unless we change it up and suddenly things change, it's the problem is he's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't, right? If he doesn't do it, if he stays the same formation, people will be like, oh, this formation doesn't work. And then if he changes it and we lose or it doesn't play off, it's going to be like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. He can't pick his favourite tactic. I just think at this point, a lot of people just out for him anyway. And so, yeah, I would say consistency is key unless something dramatic happens. So say we lose, then I'd think, okay, maybe it's time to change things up. Maybe it's time to potentially reintroduce personnel that haven't been there. People have questioned us in a couple comments about oh, what's going on with Joe Aribo and Dozy? And it's same thing as last week. Yeah. Who else do you replace them for? And I'm kind of at this point, if our marquee signings that we may have spent a bunch of money on aren't going to do anything, put in somebody that maybe might. And the only other issue that I've got with that is that if people are questioning mentality and Will Steele's questioning mentality, do you really want to put someone that got battered and bruised last season that tried to leave at the first opportunity in Joe Aribo? And with Sam Adozi, he had a decent season away and then he came back and tried to leave immediately. So
yeah, but it's interesting. And every time you raise Adozi and Aribo as well, it makes me think of Matsuki, who in pre-season looked really good.
Yeah, he scored an absolutely cracking goal
and against
just hasn't got
anywhere near. Baffling. Really strange. Moving into that midfield, do you see many changes, or do we think that we're just going to stick with this sort of trio of Yander, Charles, and Cienza? It seems to me that sort of balance of attack and defence is kind of starting to get there with the creativity.
Yeah, like Cienza now is probably one of the must-starts, right? Just because of the fact that he is the person that's actually creating stuff. Yander's done really well. I think from a defensive point of view, he annoyed me in one of the goals. I think it might have been the second goal where he kind of just stood off a little bit. But, other than that, he's been fairly consistent since he came in. Again, criticism of Spors and criticism of our signings, but I think he's been one of the stronger ones. Shea Charles, who is one of the people that is carrying this team at the moment. So
Yeah.
you're not going to change him. Would you swap Yander for Downs at this point?
Maybe.
Probably not. Maybe. I'm not going to be too upset.
It depends on, like you say, we're doing this before the presser, so it depends on who's ready to go right.
Yeah, and
who's
also
struggling.
who's
3 games in 7 days
unfit.
is 3 games in 7 days is a big ask in those sort of leggy positions. So I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a change. But you're right. I think it's almost impossible to take Shea Charles and Leo Cienza off of the team sheet because they seem like such critical parts of the good stuff that we have seen. The little good that has come out has come from them. So It's interesting. So, but then I guess where do we change? We change it up front. What? This is the real question, right? This is where the real crux of it comes to. What does that front line look like? Do we, stick with Armour because we know that he can bury them? I mean, he scored, I guess, on Tuesday as well. Easy to forget after what happened afterwards, but he got the goal.
Yeah. No, exactly. I wouldn't really swap. Archer was one of the ones that had probably the most glaring miss. Whereas if he'd scored that and we all of a sudden gone 2-0 up, I think it would be a very, very different game altogether. It's just I don't know, because the problem is who have you got to swap him out with?
Yeah,
Downs. And the problem is with Downs is that people see the feed sheet and kick off immediately. Maybe it would be a good game for him to be in it. I think that he needs to have a game that isn't going to be 15 minutes from 3-1 down to actually do something.
He needs something to build his confidence. He needs a good performance to... you hate to say it, but almost to prove the doubt was wrong. Not that he should have to at this point, because he's still very young and it's still very early in his time at Southampton. But, that's the noise that's come about, and I just if you're going to start him,
people saying he's Mara and Shea Charles, Shea Adams again, and this and the other, and I'm like, it's been like 3 games he's played. It's
a lot of pressure to put on him to sort of. I can't remember who it was that said it last season, but it's like you have to get out of your own way almost. If you're in your head thinking about, I need to play well and have a good performance, you're just going to force it. You're not going to manage it because you're actually, especially in those positions, your good performances come from playing on instinct and playing naturally and playing with confidence. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer.
The problem is that they put all of this pressure on him.
Yeah,
is my issue by only signing him as the only new striker option, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And then kind of gambling on somebody that's been an injury worry that we wouldn't have been too worried about, who finally seemed to have pushed through and become the player we wanted him to be. And then he's out now until next year, and I don't see us renewing his contract, if I'm totally honest, with the way that it's been. And I'm really, really sad for us, Stuart, honestly. But again, it was a gamble that hasn't paid off. So that has ultimately left all of the pressure on Downs, which means that it adds another element to where we're still having to kind of manage him and manage the expectations put on him, and that's going to be difficult. So, but I think for the time being, I wouldn't necessarily change it much.
It's difficult, right?
Because
I'm so critical of what happened on Tuesday, but I still think maybe that's probably our best 11. So stick with it until it works. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I guess that we'll see when the team sheets come out, and we'll either be happy or we won't.
This is the thing. It'll be the team sheet will come out. We'll all grumble, and then the game will take place. And if the game is a win, it will be a stroke of genius. And if it isn't, it's all we're still fault.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Right, mate. Let's move on and get our score predictions. But first, let's have a little breather and hear a message from our partners at Zencastr. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform, and Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description and learn more about Zencastr. Alright mate, we are back and moving on to the business critical point of the show. As is tradition, I'm going to throw you under the bus first. How are you feeling? What do you see going?
Right, well, when I said a draw and then maybe we win, we lost. So I'm going to have to go up from that to get a win, or to get a draw. I'm going to have to predict a win. None of this makes any logical sense because at this point I'm running off of made up BS anyway.
No superstition.
1-0. Let's go with an Armstrong goal. We're going to want more. We won't get it. But I think that would just be okay. Something is salvaged from that run of 3 games, right? Something. And then that leads us in a good week before Preston.
Yeah. I'm sat here laughing, mate, because I was going to predict exactly the same thing.
Oh, no, that means I'm getting to you, and I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I think
it's still a win.
I think that the analysis is right. I think over 1.5 goals is a lot to ask, right? So I just think a dodgy 1-0 win that won't be comfortable. It'll probably be I think Armour will score it. It probably won't be a decisive goal. It'll be, rubbish. And then we'll sit out a 1-0 lead, even though none of us want us to sit out and see off a 1-0 lead. And that's just, it feels written in the stars, doesn't it? That's
out of all of the things that could happen, it seems like the most logical, which is why I've gone with it.
Yeah. That might be a first in the show's history. I don't think we've ever predicted the same scoreline.
No, I don't think we have, mate. I'm so sorry. My condolences. Don't get me wrong. You've not exactly fallen to like. Are we gonna? I don't know. You predicted like 1 loss, right? And admittedly, you're accurate, but yeah, I just worry that I've driven you down into the dumps, and I'm sorry. I mean, arguably the team have by
I was going to say, I don't think that can be put entirely on you, mate.
Slapping the self-destruct button for some random reason on a Tuesday night, but hopefully just something a little bit better.
Performance is always we're a Saturday team anyway, so
I'll tell you what, we're never a Tuesday team, are we? That's the problem.
No.
I don't think I've ever watched us on like a midweek and been like, oh, we're well up for this.
Apart from that one time Nathan Jones beat Man City, right? Let's.
Don't, because now you're seeing the Nathan Jones revisionists come out and actually like the entirety of the fan base were completely united against that, wanting to get rid of him. That was the biggest moment of unity, more than Wembley, mate. More than us all in the fan zone at Wembley was literally the absolute anger and disappointment of Nathan Jones being appointed. Him like not winning the first 2 or 3 games.
That's it. Right, mate, that is all we've got time for. Thank you for joining me today, mate. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Let us know how you think we'll get on in the comments or on the social media. We're on all of them. We're on TikTok, Blue Sky, Instagram, X, Facebook, all of them. I think I said them all.
Social media, if you're on it, we're probably there.
We are there. Look us up.
We'll creep in occasionally, like when I do a post on Reddit, like once every couple of months. Although I like the subreddit. It's like one of the places I like to
That's it, mate. And look, regardless of how it plays out tomorrow, we'll be back on Monday to talk about it. And I look forward to it. I'm hoping that it'll be a nice, joyous episode full of happiness and optimism. And I can't wait. But until then, thank you very much for joining us. Have a great weekend. And don't let Saints ruin it. Come on, Saints.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.